Welcome, I'm Michelle. Today, we're diving into a topic that touches so many of our lives, often quietly, right behind closed doors. In this explainer, we're going to talk about the silent, creeping nature of caregiver burnout. If you're currently caring for an aging parent, a spouse, or another loved one, please know this conversation is especially for you. So take a deep breath and let's walk through this together. I want you to picture a woman in her late 50s. Honestly, her story might sound a lot like your own, or maybe someone you know well. She manages her mother's medications, drives her to every single appointment, and carefully navigates those wonderfully complicated phone calls with the insurance company. On top of that, she's working part-time and watching her grandkids on the weekends. But somewhere in the middle of all of this beautiful, selfless giving, she stops scheduling her own checkups. She can't even remember the last time she read a book just for fun or sat down for a full, quiet meal without constantly checking her phone. It's a story playing out in homes across our communities every single day. Section 1. The invisible weight of caregiver burnout. You see, caregiving rarely comes with a clear job description. We often step into these roles so gradually. We just quietly absorb new responsibilities, one at a time, until absolute exhaustion simply feels like the normal baseline. If you're feeling that invisible weight pressing down on you today, I really need you to hear this number: 63 million. According to a recent report by AARP and the National Alliance for Caregiving, that is how many Americans are now family caregivers. And what's truly staggering, that represents a massive 45% jump in just 10 years. You are absolutely not alone in feeling stretched so thin. Another vital piece of that research reveals that nearly 1 in 5, 20% of caregivers, openly admit their own health has taken a direct hit because of the load they carry. If you're struggling physically or emotionally right now, I want to reassure you, this struggle is a shared, well-documented reality. It is absolutely not a personal failure on your part. Section 2, warning signs, missing the toll. Because this weight builds so slowly, we almost always miss the red flags. Caregiver burnout doesn't usually announce itself with one dramatic moment. Instead, it happens through small, daily sacrifices that are incredibly easy to just brush off or explain away. Let's look at some warning signs from the National Institute on Aging. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious, or you find yourself snapping at the people you love over little things that wouldn't normally bother you. You might be skipping basic self-care, delaying your annual checkups, or dealing with chronically poor sleep. I want to emphasize something absolutely crucial here. Experiencing these things does not mean you're failing. It simply means your body and your mind are begging for support. Poor sleep alone makes every other thing on this list worse, creating a vicious cycle that's really tough to break without a little help. Section 3, the self-care reality, why it's not selfish. Let's talk about the heavy guilt so many caregivers carry. When I speak with caregivers about taking a break, the guilt is immediate. It can almost feel like a betrayal to focus on yourself, but we have to look at the facts. The internal belief is almost always, if I don't do it, no one will, or no one can do it quite like I do, and that feels undeniably true in the moment. But look at this stark reality from the Family Caregiver Alliance. Caregiving spouses between 66 and 96 who report emotional strain face a mortality risk that is 63% higher than non-caregivers of the exact same age. That is a critical warning. Neglecting your own health while caring for someone else can literally shorten your life. Taking care of yourself is a life-saving necessity, not a luxury. I really want you to take this to heart. Self-care is not selfish. It is what allows you to keep showing up for the person who depends on you. A caregiver running on empty simply cannot offer the same patience or steady presence as one who actively protects their well-being. By giving yourself just a moment to breathe, you are actually making yourself a stronger, more present caregiver. Section 4. Small steps that actually help. And I mean really small, manageable steps. You don't need to book a week-long spa vacation to start recovering from burnout. Practical relief is found in highly manageable micro-actions, not overwhelming lifestyle changes. The CDC recommends building in short, regular breaks. So here are 3 low-barrier steps you can try this month. First, tell your own doctor you're a caregiver. They might know about local respite services or support groups you haven't heard of. Second, ask one person for one specific task this week. Just one. Don't try to handle it all alone. And third, build a short list of small joys. It could be a brief walk outside, a quick chat with an old friend, or literally just going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Pick just one of these to start. Even a single added source of support can lighten your load in a really meaningful way. Section 5, caregiving in home, housing decisions. This is where the emotional toll meets your physical reality. Decisions about housing and caregiving are deeply intertwined. When one adult child becomes the primary caregiver while others live far away, quiet resentment often builds, and tension over the family home usually follows right behind. That leads to a gentle but vital question every family should honestly ask: does the current home still work for everyone involved? Sometimes the physical house itself is actively making things harder for the caregiver, whether it's the stairs, the upkeep, or just the layout. Families who have these honest conversations early, long before a health crisis forces the issue, handle both caregiving and eventual housing decisions with far less conflict. A move isn't always the answer, but starting the conversation now spares the caregiver an enormous amount of stress later on and gives everyone time to plan calmly instead of scrambling during an emergency. As we wrap up our time together, please remember this: you are allowed to ask for help. It's not a failure. It is truly one of the most important things you can do. If you're navigating these transitions, you are warmly invited to explore our free resource library and the Homeowners 50+ page for guidance on aging in place and care alternatives. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. The person you love is counting on you, but I'll leave you with this question to consider today. If you don't take a moment to protect your own well-being right now, who will be left to care for them tomorrow?